We think we know the world. We study maps, follow the news, and scroll through travel feeds. Yet the planet still hides an astonishing number of secrets, tucked inside the borders of countries we assume we understand. History books skim the surface. Tourist brochures sell the obvious. But beneath the familiar landmarks and national stereotypes lies a much stranger, richer, and more surprising reality. Some countries have laws that seem to defy logic, landscapes that challenge everything you've been told about geography, and cultural traditions so unique they feel borrowed from another planet. The 8 facts you're about to read aren't trivia for trivia's sake. They're windows into how wonderfully weird human civilization really is. Prepare to rethink places you thought you knew, and to discover corners of the world that have been quietly extraordinary all along. This is Interesting Facts About Country and the World. Norway once knighted a penguin. Norway is famous for fjords, the northern lights, and a fiercely proud Viking heritage. But tucked inside its long list of national honors is one of the most delightfully absurd diplomatic gestures in modern history. The country formally knighted a penguin. The recipient was Nils Olav, a king penguin residing at Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland. The relationship between Nils Olav and the Norwegian Kingsguard began in 1972 when a Norwegian soldier visiting the zoo adopted the bird as the regiment's mascot. Over the following decades, each new king penguin at the zoo inherited the name and the rank, rising through the military hierarchy with each royal visit. In 2008, Nils Olav III was officially knighted by King Harald V's guard in a full military ceremony, complete with a sword tap on each shoulder. He holds the rank of Brigadier and is listed as an honorary member of the Norwegian Royal Guard. The whole affair sounds like a joke, but it is entirely official, meticulously documented, and taken with considerable pride by the soldiers involved. It stands as a remarkable reminder that even the most dignified nations occasionally make room for pure, wonderful absurdity. Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined. Canada, with its modest global reputation for politeness and hockey, rarely tops that list. Yet Canada is, by a breathtaking margin, the most lake-dense nation on Earth. The country contains approximately 800 lakes, a figure that accounts for roughly 60% of all the world's freshwater lakes. To put that in perspective, Canada holds more lakes than every other country on the planet combined, several times over. These lakes range from the massive Lake Superior, shared with the United States, is the world's largest freshwater lake by surface area, to thousands of unnamed, unmapped bodies of water scattered across the boreal forest and tundra of the far north. The sheer remoteness of much of Canada's interior means many of these lakes have never been visited by a human being. They exist in complete wilderness, feeding rivers, sheltering wildlife, and quietly holding a disproportionate share of the planet's liquid fresh water. For a country often taken for granted on the world stage, Canada's lakes alone make it one of the most ecologically extraordinary places on Earth. Bhutan measures success and gross national happiness, not GDP. Almost every government on Earth uses gross domestic product, GDP, as its primary measure of national success. It counts economic output, trade, and productivity, but says nothing about how people actually feel about their lives. Bhutan, a small Buddhist kingdom nestled in the Himalayas between India and China, decided decades ago that this framework was fundamentally incomplete. In the 1970s, King Jigme Singye Wangchuck declared that gross national happiness was more important than gross national product, and the country has governed by that philosophy ever since. GNH is not a vague slogan. It is a detailed, multi-dimensional index that measures 9 domains: living standards, health, education, governance, ecological diversity, time use, psychological well-being, cultural resilience, and community vitality. Bhutan conducts regular GNH surveys across its population and uses the results to guide policy decisions. Crucially, the country has constitutionally mandated that at least 60% of its land remain forested, making it not only carbon neutral, but carbon negative. Russia has 11 time zones, more than any other country. Russia is the largest country in the world by landmass, covering over 17 million square kilometers, nearly twice the size of the second largest nation, Canada. Its sheer width is so extraordinary that it spans 11 time zones, stretching from Kaliningrad in the west to the Chukotka Autonomous Okrug in the far east, which sits just 82 kilometers from Alaska across the Bering Strait. When it is 6 a.m. in Kaliningrad, it is already 4 p.m. the same day in Chukotka. The eastern and western ends of the same country are nearly a full calendar day apart. This creates genuinely surreal practical challenges. A Russian citizen booking a domestic flight from Moscow to Vladivostok is traveling through 8 time zones, farther in temporal distance than flying from London to Los Angeles. Russian presidents addressing the entire nation on live television must reckon with the fact that some viewers are eating breakfast while others are preparing for bed. The country has actually tinkered with its time zone count over the years, reducing it to 9 under Medvedev in 2010, then reverting to 11 under Putin in 2014, reflecting how politically and logistically complex managing a continental-scale nation truly is. Chile is home to the driest place on Earth. Chile is a country of staggering geographic contradiction, stretched like a ribbon down the western edge of South America, 300 kilometers long, but averaging only 177 kilometers wide. It contains within its borders some of the most extreme environments on the planet, sometimes existing almost side by side. The Atacama Desert in northern Chile is officially recognized as the driest non-polar desert on Earth. Some weather stations in the Atacama have never recorded rainfall in their entire history of operation. Parts of the plateau receive less than 1 millimeter of rain per year, conditions so hostile that NASA has used the region to test Mars rovers, as the landscape closely resembles the Martian surface. Yet within the same country, less than 2,000 kilometers to the south, Chile's Patagonian region contains vast ice fields and glaciers, including the southern Patagonian ice field, the world's second largest contiguous extrapolar ice mass after Antarctica. The country also contains active volcanoes, Mediterranean wine valleys, Easter Island with its mysterious Moai statues, and lush temperate rainforests. Japan has a town with more scarecrows than people. In the mountains of Tokushima Prefecture, on the island of Shikoku, there is a small village called Nagoro. Its population, as of recent years, numbers somewhere around 20 to 30 actual human residents, mostly elderly people who have lived there their whole lives. But wander through the village's winding paths, peer into its schoolhouse, look into its fields and bus stops, and you will find hundreds of figures staring back at you. They are scarecrows, life-sized, hand-sewn, uncanny human replicas made by a local woman named Tsukimi Ayano, who returned to her childhood home and began crafting the figures to replace the neighbors who had moved away or died. Each scarecrow represents a real former resident of Nagoro, posed in scenes from daily life. Children frozen in mid-lesson at the empty school desks, farmers bent over their fields, an old man waiting eternally at the bus stop. There are now over 350 scarecrows in a village with fewer than 30 living souls. The project has drawn international media attention, spawning a documentary and making Nagoro a quiet pilgrimage site for those fascinated by rural depopulation, memory, and the haunting beauty of a disappearing way of life. It is one of the most quietly extraordinary places in the world.